I'm hanging out with Megan, and today we watched a Netflix original film called When We First Met, which was really enjoyable, actually.
Yeah, this was a time loop film, which Mallory, as you would know if you watch her videos consistently, has been really into lately. She's watched television show episodes and read books and watched movies, and for some reason just ran out of time, fell out of the habit, and didn't consume this one immediately upon its release about a month ago.
Yeah, that's true. General premise of this film, there is this young gentleman named Noah, and he is madly in love with his friend of 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And on the day of her engagement party to another gentleman, he gets drunk. Really, really, really drunk. Stumbles into a bar where he is a piano player and puts a quarter in the machine of the photo booth that they took photos in 3 years ago when they went on this perfect romantic first date that just turned into nothing.
And they travel back in time. And by they, I mean just him. He's alone. Mm-hmm. I don't know why I said they, but he travels back in time through this time machine. And then it's interesting because it's not quite a loop. I would say that it's a time line jump.
Yeah.
That then he chooses to go back and loop. So unlike other time loop movies where the goal of the person stuck in the time loop is that they are stuck and so they're trying to get out, this is more of the character Noah doesn't want to have a worse life for himself or any of his friends or family, his chosen family. Mm-hmm. He wants to still be friends with his best friend, which is why he goes back one time, and he wants to still have this relationship, and at the beginning he wants to create a romantic relationship with this girl who he thinks is perfect for him.
So he goes back to the night they met, he relives the night that they met, and then he wakes up 3 years later, the morning of the engagement party, if the engagement party happens to be happening in this current version of the timeline, and then lives through that day, and then at some point decides to go and put the coin back in to wake up again.
If this premise sounds intriguing to you, stop this video, go watch the movie, don't watch the trailer, because the trailer is literally
the first
20 minutes that we just described. Mm-hmm. But from this point on, spoilers for this kind of trashy Netflix original movie, so you're probably fine.
It does not fall into a lot of the tropes of the time loop, mostly because he's in control. So there's never a day where he goes around naked or he points things, but he does have that anticipatory thing. He makes a huge mistake the first time he goes back by trying to be the perfect guy for her, which involves memorizing everything he knew about her and regurgitating it in a very creepy way.
Well, in the first loop, he spends the beginning of both days confused as to what's happening. So it's the day 3 years ago, and he goes and talks to his friends, one of whom is his friend through the girl that he meets. The girl's name is Avery, for lack of confusion. He goes back and talks to Avery's friend Carrie, who he has not met yet, because he doesn't understand the time travel thing. And so that results in it being creepy to an extra level, and then when he wakes up 3 years later, he still doesn't really know what's going on, so he thinks that was all a dream. And I feel that section follows the kind of cringy, stupid, isn't in control of the time travel thing yet, and that's maybe the only trope that this really hits on, besides the kind of resolution, I found it something better about myself trope. Mm-hmm.
But I thought it was really enjoyable. I liked the little changes that he made. I also liked his discovery. Once he got in the habit of realizing what it was, his discovery every morning. For example, he wakes up in this 3 year later timeline where he and Avery are married, and he is a successful businessman, which was, what the dream was. And he's oh, I'm fat now. I'm fat. And then walks out into his gigantic mansion and is oh, it's comfort weight.
And then later he's eating a piece of cake and he's just kidding, it's stress eating. Yes. Which was really good.
It was really good.
I also really liked that this movie, the days were Halloween, the day that he met the girl was Halloween, so there was a different costume every time he went back. And there's I like Halloween, so it was kind of a cute Halloween movie without being a scary movie or an overly Halloween. It just is a movie that happens to be set around Halloween, which I feel like doesn't happen very often. I feel like normally it's either like a
Yeah, I
Halloween episode or a Halloween movie, or we just like skip over the fact that Halloween exists. So I liked.
Yeah, I liked the casual Halloween bit of it. Also, one of the things that you notice, eventually he realizes that Avery needs to be with the other character who's played by Robbie Amell, which like we all knew that was true because everybody should be with
I
Robbie
don't know.
Amell.
Like, I didn't know. I was like pretty shook. The reason that this movie was like a lot for me, which it definitely was, it was like emotionally a lot, is because I like didn't know what I wanted, which is like interesting because like the main character obviously like doesn't know what he wants and like thinks he knows what he wants. So like I, as a viewer, didn't like think necessarily like we want them to be together, because I thought that it was going to be kind of like a play on it, but I wasn't sure if it was going to be a play on it or not. I wasn't sure if we were going to end up together. I thought that it might just be that he needs to spend the date being exactly the same, but making it clear that it's a date, or that he just needed to like...
It's true.
That there was like the moment at the end was the moment that he regretted, and so he needed to like change that moment. When in reality, like that's not the case. He just needed to play the date exactly the same way for a completely different reason.
Yeah, needed to realize that he shouldn't have spent all this time pining after somebody who clearly was a really great friend.
And like wasn't
Meant to be anything more.
anything else. Yeah. So that was cool, but that like took a while for him to realize, and also for like the audience to realize. Like I don't think
I realized where it was going because I made the suggestion in his third reality.
In the first reality, though, we were introduced to a second female character. And so my brain was like, maybe he's gonna end up with her. If he doesn't end up with the actual chick, probably gonna end up with her. But then I just, like, didn't want that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just wanted girls and boys to be friends. And, like, I realized that at the end of this movie, like, yeah, girls and boys can be friends. Like, Noah and Avery are friends. But, like, Noah had to regret being in love with her for 3 years for them to have like a healthy friendship. And that's a bit much. Like, why do you have to be attracted to like every girl you meet?
You see, and that's interesting because I don't feel like it was necessarily somebody attracted to every girl you meet. I think it was him accepting the fact that like they were good friends. And for whatever reason, he spent all of the other iterations imagining that just because he'd felt something, they couldn't possibly be just friends. And I liked the fact that the end result, even though in the end he ended up romantically attached to the other girl, that in the end, what he realized, like he had this conversation, he goes, oh, we're meant to be friends.
Yeah.
Like,
and him just like
good
setting
friends.
up his friend Avery with her fiance Robbie Mel, that didn't like make the situation work, and I liked that. I did like that a lot. And I also liked that this was a movie that was like playing with the time loop fate idea without like trashing it, because I feel like a lot of times like in a movie where you're trying to like break fate or change fate, you like either learn that like fate is the force, or you learn that like fate is stupid. And I feel like in this movie we like didn't learn any of those things, and it was good. Like I like the idea that it can be ambiguous.
Yeah, I agree. And I thought that it was just fun. I had an enjoyable time. I thumbed up this movie, and if you like time loop films, then I would recommend this.
If you like,
it's a fun romp. And
just
if you like
cheesy romantic films, or just like that guy from Pitch Perfect who isn't Jesse, he's the main character. Mm-hmm. If you like him playing piano.
This is the second time loop film with Robbie Amell that I've watched.
Really?
Yeah. Fun facts.
How many photo strips out of 4 photos do you give this?
Ooh, I would say that this is a 3 out of 4 photo strips.
Oh man. Okay, can I see those 3 photo strips?
Yeah, are you ready?
1, 2, 3, go. 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 And
See you tomorrow.